Hey, welcome back. This is part two of a review of Forrest Fenn's interview with Radio New Zealand from April 3rd, 2013. It's the second part of this interview. I had to cut it into two pieces. So, I want to just jump right back into this. Forrest Fenn was talking about the issue having to do with Forrest Fenn on the part one. He was just talking about how he had made a deal with, I think it's NBC News, to do one of our first interview. So let's listen in on the rest of this New Zealand radio interview from April 3rd, 2013. We'll jump right back in here without much ado here. So let's maybe back this up just a little bit, and let's listen in again.
And then it came to the public notice. And I believe you've had to give out a couple of extra clues, have you?
Well, I made a deal with NBC News. They want me to give a clue a month for 9 months, and I told them I would do that. But I'm not gonna give any clues that are significant that will help somebody significantly in the chase. I'm not thinking about spring break or Sunday afternoon picnic out looking for the treasure chest. I'm thinking 100 years from now, maybe 1,000 years from now. This is not something that I've taken very lightly.
Okay. So it's obviously not easy to find, but it is findable in 2013. That's why they're all out looking. Would that be fair? You can find it.
Yeah, yes. In my book, the Thrill of the Chase, I wrote a poem, and the poem has 9 clues in it. If you can follow the clues to the poem, they will take you to the treasure chest. And in my book, there are several hints that won't take you to the treasure chest, but they will help you with the clues that are in the poem. It's not going to be easy to find, and nobody is going to accidentally.
So that's interesting. I know there's been a lot of debate about that comment, and maybe we could rewind that and just listen to him say it one more time. Hold on, let me go back and redo this. Okay, here, let's listen to this one more time.
Yes, in my book, the Thrill of the Chase, I wrote a poem, and the poem has 9 clues in it. If you can follow the clues to the poem, they will take you to the treasure chest. And in my book, there are several hints that won't take you to the treasure chest, but they will help you with the clues that are in the poem.
So it's interesting the way he says that, right? Right from Forrest Fenn's mouth, is that there's 9 clues in the poem, and they will take you to the treasure chest. And if you read my book, there are hints. What does he say? Let's try that again.
Poem, and the poem has 9 clues in it. If you can follow the clues to the poem, they will take you to the treasure chest. And in my book, there are several hints that won't take you to the treasure chest, but they will help you with the clues that are.
So interesting enough, in my book, it won't. That's interesting that there's hints in my book that will not take you to the treasure chest, and I think that's one of those things where you just need to. Anybody who's on the Thrill of the Chase search for Forrest Fenn's gold, any searcher needs to. That would be someplace where I would write in the margin with a red marker. This is worth noting: is that there's hints in the book, and right from the horse's mouth, Forrest Fenn is saying those hints in that book will not take you to the treasure, but they'll help you with the poem. So let's go back and listen to more.
In the poem. It's not going to be easy to find, and nobody is going to accidentally trip over this thing. They're going to have to figure out the clues, decipher what they say, and go right straight to the treasure chest.
I'm assuming, I'm not trying.
I think that's another. I mean, this thing is kind of chock full of some things right here that are controversial in the chase. And Forrest Fenn says that they're going to have to decipher the clues in the poem, and it'll take you straight to the treasure chest. Again, he's saying you need to decipher the clues, and that could be that he's just using regular language and saying the word decipher and a clue. But I think there's some. That's definitely a point I'm making a note in my margin for another discussion point. I think that is a whole video in itself, is that exact quote about the decipher the clues. Let's listen in some more and see what Forrest has to say about this.
trying to prize information out of you, but I'm assuming that if an unemployed guy in a pickup truck is driving across from Texas to have a look, you don't necessarily need local knowledge, local geography knowledge.
No.
Okay.
The first clue in the poem is, begin it where warm waters halt. That's the first.
So again, there's just bang, bang, bang nugget of information, and these are all talking points that are talked about over and over again. It is interesting, and I haven't listened to this for a while myself. Is that the interviewer from the New Zealand radio interviewer, he says, does anybody have to have knowledge of local geology, or does he have geography? Maybe we should listen to that again. Listen to that again.
Really trip over this thing. They're going to have to figure out the clues, decipher what they say, and go right straight to the treasure chest.
I'm assuming, I'm not trying to prize information out of you, but I'm assuming that if an unemployed guy in a pickup truck is driving across from Texas to have a look, you don't necessarily need local knowledge, local geography knowledge.
No.
Okay.
The first clue in the poem is.
So I think that's interesting. He says, the interviewer says, local knowledge, local geography knowledge, and Fenn categorically says no, you don't need local geography knowledge, and that was in response to the point of that if you're some unemployed guy in a pickup truck from Texas, will you need local geography knowledge? And the answer straight up is no. Let's listen some more.
Begin it where warm waters halt. That's the first clue. If you can't figure that clue out, you don't have anything.
So there's definitely the genesis of, or straight from Forrest Fenn, that the first clue is begin it where warm waters halt. If you don't have that clue, you don't have anything. So that to me is difficult to accept, but there it is, straight from Forrest Fenn, is the first clue is begin it where warm waters halt. Let's take in some more of this.
All right, begin it where.
I think you're going to go out looking for that treasure chest. I think you have that in your voice.
I'm getting mightily interested, actually, considering my hourly rate. Well, that's my next question. Do you mind if someone up sticks from New Zealand and comes across and starts looking? Is that the kind of person that would please you?
I love New Zealand. I wish all of those people would come over here. I've been to both New Zealand and Australia. I love that part of the country, and I invite them to come.
Oh, good on you, Forrest. What are you getting out of it? I can see you've described why you're doing it. What satisfaction is it giving you, do you think?
Well, in August I'll be 83 years old, and I've collected all of these things, and I've had so much fun doing it. I just want somebody else to. Let me go back to your question. I don't want anybody to say that the treasure story is not true, and it's a gimmick for me to make money on my book. So to prevent that from happening, I have given all of the books to the Collected Works bookstore here in Santa Fe. That's the only place you can buy the book, and they get all of them for free. And when they sell a book, they put 10% of the gross aside to put in a cancer fund, and we're going to spend that money when we can find the right place to spend it. Hopefully some minority person that needs a cancer operation or something. We're going to do some really good things with that money.
Bless you, and I know you don't need the money anyway, because of who you are. Forrest Fenn is with us. So there must be a problem with this, though. You must be being contacted by hundreds or even thousands of people, are you?
Well, I've received over 14,000 emails. I'm getting between 300 and 400 a day.
Wow. Any proposals of marriage, Forrest?
I've had 8 women want to marry me, and my wife asked me today, what do you tell these 18 women when they call you and want to marry you? I said, well, the first thing I ask them if they have an airplane.
It's very funny.
You thought that was pretty funny, didn't you?
I did.
My wife didn't think it was that funny.
You're a great man. Well, look at what you've started. It's a fantastic quest. In your bones, Do you think that somebody's going to find it soon, or do you think it's going to elude discovery?
Well, it's impossible to predict it. There have been two different parties that figured out the first two clues, but they went right past the treasure chest and didn't find it.
Ah.
So this is definitely a one of the biggest or a very large discussional point on Forrest Fenn's treasure, and the people who have come so close. And let's just listen to that again. Sometimes, I mean, quotes go by or information goes by, and I think it's great to go back and hear what the person had to say again, maybe once, if not twice, and review that again and again. So let's hear it again.
Elude discovery.
Well, it's impossible to predict it. There have been two different parties that figured out the first two clues, but they went right past the treasure chest and didn't find it.
Ah.
But there were seven more clues, and they didn't figure them out, but they got pretty close.
It's a marvelous idea, Forrest. You've got them all excited, and I hope the right person finds it. I'm sure you do too.
Well, I hope the person that finds it is a person that needs it. I've thought all along. I've been rich and I've been poor, and I've thought that having enough money is a lot better than having a lot of money.
Yeah, that's nicely put. Good on you. Thank you. I'm glad we got hold of you, and I'm glad you could come on and talk with us. All the best with the chase, Forrest.
Well, thank you, sir, and tell New Zealand hello for me.
Yes, well, you're telling them now, which is great. Forrest Fenn, on the line with us from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Originally, that poem in his book, The Thrill of the Chase. And we've cheated slightly. We've got a link to it on our Facebook page, in case you are interested in joining the treasure hunt. Hear me all and listen.
So, left the mic open, so there's probably be some ambient noise on that last part. So, I just want to go back to this last part so we can find it again. So here we are. Just run this one more time. Let's try and listen in one more time on this.
Two different parties that figured out the first two clues, but they went right past the treasure chest and didn't find it.
Ah.
Two different parties figured out the first two clues, and they went right past it. Two different parties figured out the first two clues and went right past it. Now, very interesting in this interview, April 3rd, 2013 with Radio New Zealand. In this interview, he does not mention the distance, but he does say two people. That's 2013. Let's listen. I want to hear this last part.
But there were seven more clues, and they didn't figure them out, but they got pretty close.
It's a marvelous.
So, and then he says there's seven more clues, and they got pretty close. So, the rest of the interview, we heard before, and I think the quick highlights of this thing is that in the beginning of the interview, Forrest Fenn makes the point that he hid it and that it's not buried, and he talks about in 1988 he had a 20% chance of survival. When he was 9 years old, he collected Indian arrowheads when he was in Texas. He mentions the Libyan desert, Sitting Bull and his pipe, the grains in the wood. He mentions the number 8, and he hits on that it's 20.2 troy ounces, 265 eagle and double eagles, and 2,500, and that there's hundreds of other pieces inside. And the other parts that he was talking about just now is about having to do with those other aspects. So I think it's a very interesting interview, and it's very interesting to listen to it straight up and be able to parse it. And that's it right there. I mean, there's no other hidden thing in it. I mean, there it is. So that's my parsing of the New Zealand radio interview from April 3rd, 2013. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want to listen to more, subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, Wanderlust is out. Thank you.